Hello fish fools, Jeff here. So there's going to be some significant changes with my aquariums. I mentioned in a recent video some of the major factors that influence my aquarium hobby, and ultimately the number one factor to this point was that I'm going to be moving. Right here I have, what I'm showing here is my 30-gallon aquarium. So when I got back into the fish keeping hobby, at the time I figured this was the biggest tank that I could get, because anything bigger would be too difficult to move when the time comes that I'd be able to move. I mentioned other factors: space, cost, and time as other factors that influence my aquarium hobby. But if I wasn't going to be moving and this was going to be where I'd be living permanently, then I would have made space. I mean, there have been, I don't know how many times I've come kind of close to buying a 75-gallon tank at Petco when they have the $1 per gallon sales. I mean, the $1 per gallon is for 29-gallon tanks, 10, 20s, and 29s, and then anything above that is 50% off. But I think at the time, there was a time when a 75 would be on sale for $90, and I'm like, oh, I could just get that, and the things that I could do with it. But I was able to resist that. But then my local fish store also sells an 84-gallon tank. It's a 6-foot tank. It's kind of like a low, long tank, and that is the tank that I want. So since I discovered that they sell that a couple years ago, I've been waiting for the time to come when I can get that, and I've already decided that before I even get any new furniture, I'm buying that 6-foot tank. So that's going to be one of the first new things that I get when I move to my house. And yeah, so I have to figure some things out. This is my 30-gallon planted live air community tank, and it's no longer in its glory. I mean, this was the tank I was super proud of, but it's been neglected. And the main reason is because it leaks. So there is like just a slow leak. I'll add a little bit of water to it, and I don't do water changes as much as I should. And the population is down, so this is all that's left. I mean, unfortunately, I lost good amount of fish, but I mean, if anything, it'll be easier to move them. One good thing is I still have one of the Pandagaras right there. Unfortunately, I did lose the roseline shark. I initially got that when it was kind of small, but it did grow pretty big, and it wasn't that long ago that I lost it. I'm disappointed that it didn't hang on, because I was just waiting for the time to come when I could get a big tank, because that 84-gallon tank that I'm planning on getting, roseline sharks, was going to be I was going to get a group of them instead of, just for the hell of it, I got one in here to kind of be like a centerpiece fish. And I have another one in my 29-gallon tank too. Yeah, and there's some platies left as a Siamese algae eater, down to the 2 neon tetras after having, I think, as many as 14. And yeah, so what I think aside from the 84-gallon tank, and since this tank leaks, what I think I'm going to do is get a 40-gallon tank, a 40-gallon breeder, because it's pretty much it's the same length. This is a 3-foot tank, and the dimensions would be the same except for, I believe, 6 inches wider. So that way, as I break down this tank, should be able to handle taking the fish out and moving them to other tanks. The shrimp, I don't know how I'm going to gather all those up. What I think I'm going to do is do the same kind of plan that I had for this tank, Like it'll have, this is like a mixture of Eco Complete, and now is all filled with detritus as well. I think I'm gonna use that as a base and like get some more gravel, some black sand, so it'll be better for corridors and pretty much have like as much as I can set up similarly with the plants in here, and then get it going with. This will be, you know, primarily the live bears and community fish, and mostly platies. But then what I'm also going to do, let's move on to another tank. So here's my 10-gallon tank. This is going to be my mud guppy tank. What I think I'm going to do as I break down that 30-gallon, move the neon tetras in here, maybe some of the guppies or little endlers, guppy endler hybrids that are in there. And as I move the 10-gallon tanks, I think I'm going to be able to drain it down to a couple inches and then just hope for the best, and I'll be able to carry them. So this is one of 4 10-gallon tanks. I should be able to do that with all of them. Just kind of go one at a time. I already did sort of a trial run. I have another 10-gallon tank that was empty. I just filled it up with 3 gallons of water so I could carry it out down the stairs in the car, and as the water would like splash around like driving. But I think just one trip, I mean, people ship fish, or fish get shipped and they get sloshed around in little bags, so should be able to handle it. It's about a 20-minute drive to my house from here, so should be able to handle that. And then for in the future, what I think I may even do with the 30-gallon, upgrading that to a 40-gallon, pretty much the same setup as it is, and then maybe for the first time I'll try to reseal a tank. So that 30-gallon has it leaks, so I'll try to reseal that, and maybe I'll make that the mutt guppy tank, so 30-gallon mutt guppy tank, and then I'll use this for another purpose. And then, alright, let's look at another tank. So here is my 29-gallon tank. 29-gallon swordtail community tank. This will pretty much just stay as it is. As far as moving it, that's going to be tough because I don't want to break it down, and I think I can manage the 10-gallon tanks okay carrying them, but this might be harder. I mean, it's going to need 2 people, but if I'll still be able to do this, drain it down a couple inches, but I'll still just probably need a second person to do that, and it'll be harder. I can kind of, because I left the 10-gallon tank when I did that trial run, as I mentioned, just on the seat. It might be harder with this, but I don't know, I'll have to figure something out. Yeah, so this tank should remain pretty much the same as it is, as with things that are going to change. This should stay the same. Things might get, they're going to get knocked around a bit, but I expect I'll set it up pretty much the same as it is. And so this sponge filter right there was only intended to be there temporarily because this 29-gallon tank is on a dual tank stand, and I was going to put a 20-gallon up here. So now when I do move, it was intended to be a Crebensis tank. So I'll finally get that Crebensis tank set up, the 20-gallon. That was the plan. It'll be over time, but I'll have to. First, I gotta focus on moving, and the main thing is going to be the 84-gallon tank when I set that up. But then, next tank after that, I think will be the crebensis tank. So I need to figure out where I can get some good crebensis. I know there are some other YouTube channels where people have bred them, and I've thought about reaching out to get some. But yeah, alright, let's move to another tank. Alright, here's another 10-gallon tank. It's loaded with guppies and platies and some different types of catfish. There's a Pandagower right there. There's some autosynclus, a Julie Corridor. So, I think most of the fish in here will be like the platies, and like most of these will go into what will be the 40-gallon that my 30-gallon is going to essentially become. So then after that, what I'll probably just do is have a specific like purpose tank, because this one I don't get to really look at much. It's low to the ground and I don't really like it. It's another one that's on one of these dual stands. Going forward, I don't think I'm gonna get anything like this again, because just being low to the ground, I'd rather just have them this level. This right above it is my 10-gallon wild guppy and pea puffer tank. I have one pea puffer in here. I did have as many as 4. I am down to the last one. And where is it? I'm going to pause for a moment and see if I can find it. There it is. I just saw it. Go back over here. There it is. Alright, so the one pea puffer is still doing alright. What I think I might do after moving is let the pea puffer have its own tank, which will probably be one 5-gallon tank, or 5.5-gallon tank. So this is my 5-gallon tank. It has one last white cloud, old and mangled and looking all weird, and just 3 guppies. So 2 males and a female. I think that's the last of it, and lots of Neocaridina cherry shrimp. Being that this is the last of the guppies in here, I might as well just move them to my mutt guppy tank and maybe just leave this as a shrimp for now, or maybe I can try putting the pea puffer in here, see how it will do with the shrimp. I actually do have another 5.5-gallon tank not set up, so maybe I could use that for the pea puffer. I think I'm going to try some purpose tanks. I'd like to maybe try some species only tanks, because when I had more white clouds, supposedly they are easy to breed, but I'm wondering if they were breeding and having eggs, but then eggs just get eaten. And yeah, might want to try to breed some egg layers and do some species only purpose breeding tanks. Alright, let's see what else we got. And here is my 10-gallon guppy antler hybrid tank. And in this tank there are pygmy corridors. And as I was just mentioning species only tanks, I might try to breed pygmy corridors and let them have a tank to themselves. I did see that they had laid eggs in here, and then there was some on the glass, and the guppies were just eating the eggs off the glass, so just never got a chance to hatch out and grow babies, but maybe if they have a tank to themselves without any other fish, then maybe I can try to do that. But this will continue on as my guppy antler hybrid tank, and ever since putting the Siamese algae eaters in here, most of the hair algae is gone. So then maybe I can get some Java moss and guppy grass going. In another recent, my last video, I showed some of the platy fry in here. See if I can spot some of them while we're looking at it. Probably right in front of me again, but I'm just not seeing them. Where are they? Why am I not seeing any? When I fed them not too long ago, I saw about a half a dozen of them. But there are, since I put these platies in here, they are red-tailed Dalmatian offspring, and I think as they grow, they're going to be pretty cool looking. Yeah, so this tank, this is one that I'll drain down a couple inches and I should be able to carry it and move it. Again, that's one of the reasons why I pretty much stuck with 10-gallon tanks because of the moving factor. Well, space and cost were factors as well, but just moving was really the main thing. But all right. And here is my 3.5 gallon. This was my Neocaridina cherry shrimp tank, where the first tank I got the shrimp population going before I spread them to other tanks. And then since then I put some female wild guppies or wild guppy and their hybrids in here, and a male lime green Endler, and so these guppy and their hybrids. And the subwasser tang has filled in a lot. But this tank, I was kind of thinking, I mentioned I have the 5.5 gallons, I might move the fish into one of those just so I can see them better, because I never liked how this has like a curved edge and it just distorts the view. So I don't really know what I might just leave shrimp in here without any fish. And there's even some pygmy corridors in here still too. Who knows, maybe they've been breeding in this subwasser tang. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all my tanks. So I also have, I mentioned a 20-gallon for my Corbensis tank that I've been planning, but so now eventually I'll be able to do when I move and when time allows. And I also have a 20 high that I bought as a kit years ago that I haven't set up yet. So that I'm planning on getting some mollies, some wild mollies, because there is a hot spring or a warm spring outside of the Las Vegas Valley where I live, and it has tropical fish in it, including mollies that have been there breeding. So I have my 29-gallon tank. It was the first time I ever kept mollies when I got those. It was a I was calling it my sailfin molly and swordtail tank, but didn't have much luck with the sailfin mollies, but I'm going to try to get some of those. Catch some mollies out of Rogers Spring. That's if anybody might be interested in that, you can. There's some YouTube videos. Just look up Rogers Spring, and you'll find that. And see that they have some mollies in it. There's Texas cichlids in it. But yeah, when that time comes, I'll make a video of taking a trip out there and catching some wild mollies, or yeah, out of Rogers Spring. Let's see what else am I gonna do. Eventually, I'll get a 75-gallon tank too, and there is something I had in mind for years. I'm just not ready to do it. Not setting it up here, and when more time allows. But there's something I think will be pretty fun to do. Something you can do with the YouTube fish community or the fish fam some point down the road. And what else? Oh yeah, so that when I get the 84-gallon tank, I was looking up one of my older videos when I showed that tank, mentioning that I was going to get it in the future. That was over 2 years ago. Looking in like what I wrote in the description. Roseline sharks, I mean that's still the plan. Swordtails, rummy-nosed tetras, a bunch of those, pandagours, and something else. I think corridors. Probably I'm going to get a bunch of corridors, maybe Julie corridors. May even try stir-by corridors, but there will definitely be like a bunch of corridors in that. And I think brilliant raspberries is what I think I'm also going to add in that tank. And I need to figure out what I'm going to do for filtration. And I've never had a canister filter or never done a sump, and I kind of don't think would want to do it. I'll see if I can do it with like sponge filters and hang on the back filters. But yeah. Alright, but yeah, that will be coming soon. I will show that tank as it is getting set up, and I'm so looking forward to it. And yeah, so as those changes happen, I will definitely be making videos of them, so stay tuned. And that's it for now, and remember, I'm Jeff, and I enjoy fishies. Thanks for watching.